Hey, welcome back. Let's take another look at my bullet journal for Stoics. I'm doing this in an A5 bullet journal by Bullet Journal, and I'm also taking this little pocket-sized bullet journal out in the world to take notes. I've done a couple of videos on this already. Check the playlist in the description. I'll also put a link in the description to where you can buy these bullet journals. And let's take a look. So here's an example of what I've been doing. Here in week 1, I just took an event that happened each day, and then I took notes of things that were in my complete control and things that were not in my complete control. And then at the end of the week, I just took some reflections of what I thought of the exercise and what I gained from it, what I learned from it. And I've been doing that just about every week. We had a really bad hurricane come through here in western North Carolina, and that kind of put me back a few weeks, but I am on week 7, so I think I've done pretty good considering everything that's been going on. So let me show you the last few weeks that I've been working on. In week 4, the exercise is to think about someone that either angered you or frustrated you throughout the day and try to consider their point of view or what values they may have that led them to do that. I found this really difficult for me. For one thing, I can go weeks and weeks at a time where people don't anger me or frustrate me. Most of my frustrations are with myself and not with other people, which is strange considering the job that I have. Things we're supposed to reflect about here is who was it? What did they do? Why do you feel wronged, or why does this bother you? And how do you feel about the person right now? And then you reflect on, well, what may have motivated them to do what they did. So when something happens, you stop yourself and you think, well, how do I feel about this person right now? And then you think about, well, what may have motivated them to do that? What are they struggling with that motivated them to do that? And then you think about, well, how do I feel about them after I've thought about what challenges they may have that caused them to do that. And this was a struggle. As I said, I could go weeks without getting mad at anybody or frustrated with anybody, which is odd considering the job I've got, but it's true. So a couple of things that did come up. A person with addiction who neglected a child. And why I feel this is wrong, well, that's just a trigger for me. Children are innocent. And some things that may have led to that, well, I tried to think about addiction through the lens of the disease model. This person is overcome with addiction, and that may have led to what they did, or just a lack of knowledge about child development and the child's needs. There was another one where a person threw a dog out of a car and abandoned it. And again, that's another trigger for me. Children and dogs are innocent. So that triggers me. And then I thought, well, what on earth could have led somebody to do that? And maybe mental illness. Who knows? I mean, they may have been really, really mentally ill to do that. That's all I could come up with. So honestly, this was really, really hard. So I found this exercise very difficult. Probably my own fault because I picked 2 things that are really hard to deal with. It's hard to understand why somebody would neglect a child or abuse a dog. Children and dogs, they're innocent. But by my thinking about it, it slows me down enough to not be reactive, but to disengage myself from my emotions enough to at least think rationally about it. And I know that, policemen have to do that all the time, and judges have to do that all the time. Lawyers need to be able to do that. So it's not a bad skill to be able to see something that really upsets you to no end, but to be able to grab hold of your emotions and slow yourself down and think, okay, what might that person be dealing with that would cause them to do that? It helps a little bit. I could have picked 2 examples or 3 or 4 examples that weren't as triggering. But these were two things that just happened, and I wrote about them. So in week 6, we start working on putting things into perspective with a premeditation of future adversity. And they give you a little table here, which I have kind of transposed into my little workbook here. And you go out into the world and you think of a goal that you want to have for the day, some big project or something that has some element of risk to it, something that may go wrong. The example they give is do your taxes. It's close to the filing deadline. How could it go wrong? May find that I don't have all the forms I need. That's pretty minor. If it does go wrong, what would be under your complete control? My thoughts about the outcome and planning of the next steps. What could you do or say to yourself if this plan does go wrong? I could tell myself the worst thing that might happen is a financial penalty. And then you write an implementation intention to remember if the plan does go wrong. So you're kind of pre-planning for something to go wrong. And I did that throughout my work week. Had a meeting with upper management that was kind of stressing me. I had to develop a new worker schedule. That was another thing that was really weighing on my mind. Coming up with a personal budget, scheduling future videos, and catching up with the backlog of work. And I kind of went through this whole exercise here. A really good exercise for learning to live with intention and to learn to plan for adversity, plan for something that might go wrong, but you're not planning specifically of how to keep it from going wrong. You're planning for how you will emotionally handle it, how you will not get upset when it goes wrong, because it'll go wrong. Murphy's Law, things go wrong. And how are you going to handle it? Are you going to handle it good, or are you going to fall apart? And this is a way where you can kind of pre-plan for the thing to go wrong. When this turns sideways, this is why I'm going to deal with those feelings. This is what I'm going to say to myself, and this is what I'm going to do to kind of correct it. Not a bad exercise, a really good thing to do. And here's my reflection on that. At the end of the week, I just kind of wrote down what I got out of it. This is a good exercise for both putting things in perspective and for living with intention. Having a plan for when things don't go your way or you are met with challenges is important. Live with intention, but roll with the punches if things go wrong, because they will. And another part of week 6 exercise is to pick 5 things that would be very, very difficult for you and kind of rate them, 1 to 10, not that difficult to extremely difficult. So I picked 5 things here. Death of a loved one. I would say that's an 8 to a 10. That's as bad as it gets, just about. Return of cancer. I'm a cancer survivor. 6 to 8. I've survived it before. So I know I can get through it. Loss of a job. I've lost jobs before, but it's still very difficult. I love to work. So I say 6 to an 8. Loss of home. Also extremely difficult. Not as bad as the death of a loved one, but really bad. The loss of a pet. Also very, very bad. So each day you're thinking about one of these horrible things that could happen, but you do it for just a limited time, and you're preparing yourself for life. These are things that happen in life. So it's not bad to meditate a little bit about the bad things. But these are my reflections on this. This is a good exercise to build emotional resilience, but I should be careful not to let it overwhelm me with negative emotions. Spend time afterwards with a more, and I ran out of blue ink here, positive exercise, or do something to boost your mood. So use with caution. So you don't want to dwell on this stuff, but set a timer, 5-10 minutes. I'm going to think about something that could happen and does happen in life. People do lose their homes. So then in week 7, we're taking a broader perspective. Try to view things through the vastness of time, the vastness of space, or the relative size of your problem. And here's my reflection on this exercise. Ran out of blue ink again. Seeing things through the vastness of time, nothing I do or experience today will be remembered 100 years from now. Time is infinite. This world and my life is not. Embrace the impermanence of it and don't take everything so serious. It's not the end of the world. And it's not all about me. Live each day with intention. My time is limited. Or seeing things through the vastness of space. I'm a very tiny person on a tiny planet spinning 1,000 miles an hour in one of billions of planets in a vast, empty, and expanding universe. We are all one just comet strike away from total destruction. There's a happy thought. Live your life today as if it were your last. What can I do today? Put more meaning into my life. And then the relative size of my problem. There are people here in North Carolina who have lost everything. They've lost family, friends, and homes. Many people have lost their lives. There are millions of people who will go to bed tonight hungry and cold. Throughout most of human history, extreme poverty, famine, and disease were so common they were the norm. My life is so blessed and fortunate. Stop complaining. So on that happy note, I will end it here. I'll do another one or two of these kind of overviews of what I'm doing in here. I don't want to bore people with it. Really helpful. I'm enjoying this, and I'm enjoying these 2 bullet journals. Check out the links in the description. Bye.